why don't we first start off with you all introducing yourselves and perhaps answering that question in your introductory remarks, and we'll go into it in a deeper way through the chat.
So, I'm Marius Ghenea, partner with 3DS Capital, managing partner of Catalyst Romania. We are actually the first Romanian-centric VC fund here in Romania. We started investing some 6 years ago, so we have a bit of experience already in investing in technology in Romania. We are also part of the larger family of 3DS Capital, which is a fund manager with a lot of experience in all the CEE. Collectively in Romania, we have invested over time in probably about 20 companies, and in the region, 75 companies. Most of those exited already. In the 2 funds that are still, active in portfolio mode, we are raising funds also for the region and for Romania. But for the active funds, we have something like 25 to 30 companies in the portfolio right now, of which 9 active companies in Romania. And looking at the landscape of the Romanian venture capital today, things are moving quite fast because, as we speak, there are fundraisings in progress, including our fundraise for Catalyst Romania Fund 2. This should be a 40-50 million euro fund, already with commitments from EIF and other institutional LPs, also high net worth individuals. So we're hoping to come to the first closing quite soon. Other than that, obviously, there is a number of funds that were launched relatively recently in Romania, and I'm happy to have here some of the colleagues from the VC industry in Romania in the panel, and they will probably talk about their funds. In total, I think still the venture capital available in Romania is too little. So obviously, with our coming fund, maybe with some of the programs that were already announced by EIF as a large institutional financial investor for 2020, 2021. Okay, we'll have to see what the new programming period of the European Union will bring 2021, 2027, probably more private equity type instruments through mandates such as the ones that EIF has carried for Romania. And still, at least comparatively, because if we were to benchmark, if we were to look at Hungary, for instance, where there's a flurry of venture capital funds, I think there is no less than 40, 50 funds. If we look at Poland, obviously larger market, but a lot more, probably tenfold the venture capital available in Romania is available in Poland at the moment. And the difference between the markets is not that big. In Hungary, the market is probably smaller than Romania in terms of the potential of the market, but in terms of venture capital money, there is an imbalance there, I think. Bulgaria also more funds if you put all the existing funds and new funds together. So I think Romania is still lagging behind, is obviously behind the curve in that sense. And so again, my take is that it's too little. There is a bit of a chicken and egg as well, because not having a lot of money to invest in promising early stages and startups creates a bit of a problem in the ecosystem, because some of the early stages will get funding with VC funds from abroad, and they are filling actually the gap that still exists in the market. But I'm sure that at a time when the Romanian market will have enough supply of venture capital fund and other types of risk capital for early stages, then this will not be a problem anymore.
Okay, hello. I'm Cosmin Ochisor. I'm a partner in a Gapminder fund. So basically you have someone else there, but unfortunately Dan was not able to come because he has some health issues, but I'm looking forward to give you good information about. Few things about Gapminder. Currently, we are the largest seed fund in Romania. The size of our fund is a little bit more than 40 million euros. We are active for almost 2 years, and currently we have a portfolio of around 30 companies, so we've been pretty active. We deployed so far around 8 million euros. Yeah. So for the time being, I think that's pretty much it. So I'll just give the mic to Ondrej.
You didn't answer the question whether there's too much or too little.
Too much, too little. No, there is not
Sorry,
too much.
Simon,
Yeah.
I'm
I thought that we still go
I'm a
for...
substitute moderator.
Yeah. No, I thought that we first go to the presentation and then we go to the questions. But anyway, I don't think it's too much. I think it's a good start. I think it's a good start. What do we have? I think Marius already answered, but I think in total right now also with the new announcement, it's like around 60 million in the market. I mean, really real capital because...
Perhaps the sub-question here is, will valuations go up because there's a lack of good investment opportunities and perhaps the potential for future gains have gone down? Because obviously, Ondrej would know this well, the UiPath example is a beautiful one, but are those perhaps going to disappear quickly as there isn't enough capital to good opportunities? I mean, that's probably the real question.
Coming from UiPath, I think honestly UiPath really put Romania on the map. So I don't think that the availability of capital will rise necessarily the valuation because anyway, I mean, this investment scene it's very well connected also to other markets. So honestly, a company can go raise money from Credo or they can go to London or somewhere else. So I don't think that the availability of capital will increase too much the valuations. So yeah.
Ondrej, it's your turn.
Okay, hi guys. My name's Ondrej Bartos. I'm partner with Credo, based in Prague, but focused on Central Europe, including Romania. We're currently investing out of a 100 million euro fund. I personally started coming over to Romania around 2007, 2008. So I still remember Bucharest with the wild dogs in the streets and terrible traffic. It's still here, I'm afraid. But anyway, so we've made 4 investments into Romanian startups till now. We were lucky enough to be there for UiPath, but our first investment happened in 2011, which was Brainiant, and it was one of the early successes of Romanian startup scene, so to speak. And to get to your question whether there's too much or too little venture capital in Romania, I would actually rephrase that question, because for me, what's more relevant is whether there's too much or too little capital for Romania or for Romanian startups. For me, it doesn't really matter if it's in Romania or elsewhere for Romanian startups. And I think there has never been more capital for Romanian startups than now. And yet, I don't think it's too much. I think availability of capital is good in general. Of course, there are going to be stupid investments and there's going to be a lot of money down the drain, but that's always the case. And I don't believe it's necessarily a bad thing. It's one of the things that actually help the ecosystem grow. Some of the fund managers might go out of business. Some of them will not raise new funds. I hope everybody here will, but we're friendly here, right? But I don't consider it a bad thing. So is there too much capital for Romania? No. Is there too little? No. Because
I suppose, Ondrej, the question might be, what is the benchmark? I mean, is it Hungary, or is it, heaven forbid, the UK or whatever? Because it depends. Look, in the UK there are some investments where the amount 200 million is what one startup might get. In fact, I think a couple of startups got that kind of money in the last 2 years. So, what is the right benchmark, do you think, for Romania? Is it just, you know what, there's an uptick, that's good news, or is it no, we should compete with different countries?
But I don't look at it that way. I look at capital as a borderless asset, so I don't believe in Romanian or Hungarian capital too much. Also, I'm a strong believer that capital in mid or long term is smart. So even though there might be excess of capital at a certain point, at a certain place, I just believe if it's deployed wrongly, then a part of it disappears and the right amount will stay. Call me a free market enthusiast in that sense. But so the answer to the question is there's not too little, there's not too much. I believe there's a good amount, and we're a part of it. We have the appetite to invest in Romania, and in a gentleman-like way, compete against those fine gentlemen around me.
Can I say something a little bit about? I just wanted to do 1 minute about this. I think too much capital, it's a little bit of chicken and egg, the talent is following the capital, and actually the capital goes where the talent is. So if it is a little bit too much, I think if we are smart enough, Romania can become also a center to which can attract talent from outside. So there is not such thing as too much capital.
My name is Cristian Munteanu. I'm representing Early Game Ventures. We are an early stage venture capital fund backed by the EIF, the European Investment Fund. We invest in Romania, and we are agnostic in terms of industries. We invest in anything that's related to technology, staying away of healthcare, medical devices, biotech, where we cannot add any kind of value except for capital. Related to the question, I think that the question is a bit incomplete, maybe. Too much or too little capital compared to what? I mean, is it too much capital in Silicon Valley? No. Also, I think that we need a bit of perspective, because when you are self-centered, you become arrogant, and you become, most of all, you lose the perspective. And the average size of the early stage VC fund in Europe is more than 80 million euro. So even the largest fund, as Cosmin told, that he's part of the largest VC fund in Romania, is not even at the half of what's the European average. So anything below 40 million is considered to be a micro fund. I think that a bit of perspective should make us humble, especially as we are all, well, the local funds, first-time fund managers, and we are still to prove our value, So we can tell who's the best only after we close the first fund. Until then, we are all wise. But you cannot build a reputation based on what you plan to do. You need to do it first. So, yeah, otherwise, too little or too much money. It's never too much of something that's good. When you look at the local market, we can say that maybe some funds could be too large for their purpose as an investment vehicle. In my opinion, anything investing at the earliest stages in technology, venture capital funds, that's above 30 million could be an oversized instrument. But it's my opinion, again, so I may be very, very wrong, especially when you discuss about such a strict geography such as Romania, so a small market yet. But this market is growing. The European Investment Fund created this industry. It's a new industry in Romania. With all the respect for Catalyst, the only fund that actually proved something in this country so far is Catalyst. So Marius can tell us more about it. But again, the best investment in Romania was done by Credo Ventures, not a Romanian fund, but a fund investing in Romania. So
actually, it was Early Bird and Credo. And it so happens that Early Bird has a partner in Romania. So, I was trying to get to the point where capital might be borderless, but investments, in essence, are not.
Yes,
they're confined to
correct.
some borders, either due to LP, decision. It's by default. You invest CEE, or you invest Romania, or you invest Europe, or you invest something else. Usually, there is a geographical scope attached to any kind of investment. But even more than that, it's the fact that you cannot really, particularly in early stages, be it early stage VC, be it seed funds, be it acceleration funds, you cannot really invest too far away from home, and investees cannot take investments from too far away from home. You need to be close to home, and close to home means, and this is actually, you know, specific to the Romanian market. If you look at the investments done in the past 12, 15 years, Credo has done how many? 4, Early Bird 3, we've done 20 just because we are a local fund. And together now with Gapminder, Early Game, we might be doing 100 in the next interval, while regional or international funds will never get to that kind of breadth by not having their own teams and operations here in Romania. This is at least what I think. And this is also our experience from 3DS Capital, where always, whenever we have, for instance, we have a strong office in Poland, obviously we have a number of investments in Poland, and this is how it usually works. When you are away from the region, away from the country, you might be doing larger stage investments where you don't.
Yeah, I did that.
where you don't need this kind of proximity and closeness to home. But in terms of the early stages, you need to be there. And getting back just very quickly, very briefly to the other statement that was made about maybe overinflated entry valuations, I think at that level where we invest, again, collectively, this type of investors, the entry valuation is not really the most important hurdle. The value is created during the life of the company. So basically, you put money in at a valuation which is lower or higher, it doesn't make such a big difference, you know, if the multiple is a bit higher or a bit lower, while the most of the value is created during the life of the company. It's not like negotiating the best deal and then flipping it over with a 2x like maybe private equities would do in later stages. So for us, value is created through the life of the company, and that means hand-holding. That means guidance. Help with strategy, especially since most of these companies are actually at the first level of institutional investment, structured investment. They have little governance. They are entrepreneurs, in the initial stage.
Ondrej,
I would love to disagree and then agree with the second part. In terms of the disagreement, look, I mean, we're talking about Central Europe. That's a small region enough in order for me to call myself local even here. If you take a look at Silicon Valley, Silicon Valley VCs invest in the Bay Area. And I can tell you that at a traffic jam, it takes more than 2 hours to get from San Francisco to San Jose. It gets me it gets me here in 2 hours by plane. So, it's a small region.
But the cultural trip is much longer.
I don't think so, We share we share a lot of common denominators. We share the communist history. We share good quality of technical universities and technical education. We have great engineers. And, touring the region, I can tell you that I think we're more similar than different. So for me, I feel almost local here, although I don't speak the language. I can say buonasera and merci, pretty much. And then I know some bad words, on me too.
You can put Romanian on LinkedIn as one of your languages.
And so that's the part I would respectfully disagree a little. On the second point, I totally agree. Entry valuations in our region are far from being in any way restrictive or too high, and I think it would need to take a lot longer to get to a level that would be sort of concerning. And I totally agree with Marius that most of the value gets created over the time. So it doesn't really matter if the initial valuation is 6 or 8 or 10. what matters is if the end valuation is 100, 300, or $1 billion. And that's what's the game about.
I suppose a question for Cristian. How has the ecosystem really changed in the last 4 or 5 years as things have matured, where more funds of Romanian heritage, if you like, have arisen? Have the deals become more sophisticated? Have the entrepreneurs, in fact, become better at negotiating? What has really changed?
Obviously, there's an evolution here. We see a lot of quality startups showing up all the time. Probably the deals also become more sophisticated. So the fact that now the capital is available in the local market has a very positive and very strong influence to the growth of the ecosystem. Just a few comments related to the valuations. Indeed, maybe in the past 2 years, let's say, the valuation, I think that they grew a bit. We also expect a correction to happen quite soon, simply because right now we are in the late stages of a bubble, and when the bubble will burst, probably all the valuations will go down. We are discussing this internally in our team, and we practically stopped investing in any business models that are sensitive to the crisis since March. So we are taking a very, very deep look into anything related, for example, to advertising technology, or these kind of businesses that may go belly up when the crisis will strike. Otherwise, again, something that we discuss internally, if we don't like the industry, if we don't like the product, if we don't like the team, okay, we won't invest, and we'll never be sorry for not investing. But if the only reason preventing us from making the investment is the valuation, if we say no, and then the reality proves that that was a good startup, it means just one thing. It means that we are idiots. So it shouldn't be the price preventing us to make the investment. Anything else, it's fine. Okay, we are not aligned with the founders. It's okay with that. But if it's valuation, we are simpletons. And I truly hope we are not simpletons.
Yeah, well, hopefully we don't convey the wrong message here that entrepreneurs can go and ask for any crazy valuation, because
I'm ultimately an entrepreneur, so I'm here to help them. You know.
that won't fly. But I guess there's always mechanisms that you can adjust valuation before, after, with a lot of structures that you can put in place. And indeed, in that sense, to your question, the market is becoming more sophisticated because a few years ago deals were much simpler, and now they got to a level of sophistication in terms of the type of investment. It's not just equity as it was before. It's quasi-equity, convertible notes, more structured types of investments, and entrepreneurs already are more knowledgeable about this kind of structured investments, and then the mechanisms themselves on how one can adjust in terms of either earnouts or simple adjustment mechanism depending on achieving some objectives or not.
Okay, so about valuations as well. Of course, I won't say that having high valuation is a good thing necessary, because this is basically like decreasing, let's say, the returns for us. But in a way, having if the valuations are too low, it's not good actually for a company, because having actually a slightly higher valuation will allow the companies to raise a little bit more money, which means that at the end they will be able to attract more talent. So having, let's say, the right valuation, I think it's key. Also having, I don't know, a lot of people are coming here because they say, look, for example, Romania, we can buy very cheap, but that's actually not helping anyone. You will just, I don't know, make a smaller round. If you make a smaller round, actually the company will be able to only to hire local people. But if, for example, if they want to open an office in London, you still have to pay London salaries, and you will have London expenses. So actually, it's a showstopper for companies. So having valuations a little bit higher or align, I would say, with what is happening. Let's say, first of all, Central Europe, maybe in more developed markets like Poland or Czech Republic. I think it's a good thing.
So it seems fair enough to assume that there is not too much capital in Romania from this panel. How do you How do you see it evolving? I mean, for example, in other markets, angels become as much of a part of the investments in terms of being able to sign 7-figure checks. Where are we now in terms of that, and how long is that going to take before the ecosystem can actually bring in those other players?
I'm happy that you come with this question. I think there is a way to go here. I think we don't have enough angel investors. We're even thinking to start a pilot and to do something and here, because actually the angel investors and this kind of small investors are representing the bottom of the pyramid of the ecosystem. So they can source deals, and more than that, they can work with an entrepreneur. And I think that's the key. And we are looking forward, actually, we encourage our companies, especially the ones which are in early stage, to come with an angel. It's increasing the likelihood that we're going to invest if they are coming with an angel investor. So yes, there is a way to go here. I think it's key to have a very healthy ecosystem to have more angel investors active.
Sorry, Ondrej. Just two things. One, based on our experience in the 10-strong portfolio that we have invested with Catalyst Romania, we have no less than 17 now business angels with us, and that's, I think, in itself a proof of what you were asking about the business angels. There is a community, and they are very important. They are integral to helping the ecosystem go from very early stage to Series A and beyond that. It's interesting that until recently, in the absence of the seed and acceleration funds, we would be the first structured investor coming after the business angels. Now there is a layer, and that's a very good middle layer of acceleration money or seed money that should also come after or in conjunction with business angels. So I trust that at least the two seed and acceleration funds that already operate in Romania and are present here have this mindset of sort of mobilizing business angels. Obviously, it can start from mentorship in their acceleration programs, working with them together with entrepreneurs, because this will really help us, for instance, as Series A, the likes of Credo, the likes of other investment funds at Series A level, to already invest in companies which have business angels, but also acceleration or seed funding as an equity funding. And this means that part of the governance issues are already solved. So we don't start from scratch in terms of governance. And we can do the next part of the pyramid, help the companies to get from that level to the Series B, or sometimes even direct to an exit, to a strategic or another larger financial investor.
Well, so having observed the market for 12 years now, or what, I'm actually very optimistic seeing more and more angels becoming active in Romania, in the Romanian market, and I'm a huge believer in angels being a part of the system.
I remember Ondrej coming to Bucharest. Was it 10 years ago? Because
we met.
He was a dragon in the Czech Dragons Den. So talking about business angel investments, I was a dragon in the Romanian Dragons Den. So we did an international Dragons Den at one point, and so this is something that is really close to our heart in terms of being at one point in time before doing venture capital, being actual business angels.
Yeah. And so my point was, I do see this level evolving in Romania, with tech angels, to name, at least one group, and Malin, but also, Sergiu was instrumental for FinTech OS, which you interviewed before this panel as an angel. And so I believe that this is getting better. That being said, I am also a huge believer that there are no shortcuts. And I think if there's one risk, then it's probably too many business angels or too many people jumping on making angel investments, because sometimes you need to evolve to become a business angel. And what we've seen in some parts of the region is, especially Poland, to be more specific, where there's a layer of people who I would more call business devils, who take way too much equity, destroy cap tables, then destroy the chances of the startup to raise more money. Because if you have an angel who takes 40% of the company during a pre-seed, angel round, then how much is there more to play around with in the following rounds? We've seen cap tables with angel owning 75% of the company, and then it's a total, it's a murder. I mean, he should go to jail, right? So I'm a huge believer in the business angel layer. I am hoping not to see too many business devils.
Let's give Cristian one chance to finish, and then we're going to have to close the panel.
Okay, perfect. So just my take on... Oh, yes. I've seen so many fucked up cap tables. And it's our job as a first institutional investors in such startups to do the cleanup. And it's not an easy job to explain the angel investor why he should dilute or why he should simply give back the shares. But we are also working to the benefit of the founders, and we need to save those startups because otherwise they would simply shut down. But what I wanted to add here is that I see the evolution in the way that the angels are working with startups. They are no longer abusive. They are no longer that excessively greedy, So this sophistication is going all the way to the bottom of the pyramid. We work with angels who always save a ticket for angels. And also there is a new generation of angels coming right now because there are people that made money as first employees with Fitbit, with UiPath, and these are quality guys with a tech background, and you want these guys as angels in your startup. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I'd like to say a huge thanks to you all. In answer to the question, is there too little or too much? There certainly isn't too much. That's what I've learned from this, and the angel ecosystem still needs to develop a bit more here. But thank you so much for your time, okay?
Thank you.